Hello, I'm Sarah with Flow State Awakening, and welcome to your new moon in Cancer tarot reading. So, the primary focus of this new moon is on home and family life, ancestral karma. So, clearing of ancestral karma on our mother's side, our mother's ancestry, but also healing and clearing of mother wounds within us from this lifetime that we're holding within, and also realignment of our emotional state. And what that means is basically any emotions or anything that's kind of creating dissonance or dense, kind of like repressed emotions that are clogging us up and holding us back from really moving towards our goals or starting new chapters, new projects. All of that stuff is being realigned. So it's being released and cleared, all of those dense emotions, so that we can realign to our natural state of being and have more energy resources to work with. When it comes to creating, new experiences for ourselves, new goals, etc. And there's so much more that we're going to be getting into, but I just wanted to film this quick little introduction, and I hope you enjoy the reading. Hello and welcome to your new moon in Cancer reading. Gonna go ahead and clear the table and get started. All right, so that's too much. This one's been coming out for me a lot, particularly in reverse as well. We're gonna pull the rest of them and then we'll explain. Oh. Damn, I knew that one was gonna come out. All right, let's see. You know what? I'm gonna do this a little sideways so we can see it all. Oh, there's two there. Look at that. You see that little sneaky card there? Okay, all right. Making it work. All right. So, yeah, we'll come back. In the center of the reading here, we have Judgment in reverse. And Judgment in reverse really speaks on rebirth and the end of a cycle. So although it is not total completion like the World card, it represents kind of like the end of a chapter and kind of like the end of the way of doing things. Because if we look at the symbolism of this card, we have an angel who is summoning the dead. The dead are rising. And that is, like I said, the end of a way of doing things. Usually the dead are dead. So this kind of ending is just kind of like a new beginning wrapped up in an ending. And I know every ending comes with a new beginning, but like I said, with this, the dead are rising, that is a totally different way of doing things and a way of approaching things. So what this means for us is that we are coming into situations now with a different perspective and a new kind of like route for action. Because on either side of Judgment, or well, on all sides of it, we have a lot of cards that kind of symbolize like doing things differently. The Sun card to me always represents our inner child. As we can see, there's a little boy here. He's naked. He's riding on a horse, through a sunflower field. So we're being called to connect with our inner child, and to bring some healing where we may have been neglecting our inner child. And I have seen this as a big collective theme for all of us. Getting in touch with the inner child, and just sending love and compassion there. Because a lot of us growing up, we didn't get the love, compassion, and nurturing energy that we needed in order to grow and become the person we're supposed to be. A lot of us were told to fit a mold, told you got to go to school, you got to go to college, you got to get a job. But do we have to? Is that really what we're here to do? And a lot of this inner child healing, it really feels like it is surrounding like kind of like the work play dynamic or just like overall career, because I see these two cards over here that were they were on the top of my deck over here and they were popping out to me. Seven of Pentacles always represents kind of like feeling like you didn't do good enough, feeling like your work, your efforts are not paying off. If you look at the guy's face, he doesn't look too happy at his shrub he's working at. So all in all, this inner child healing can really be surrounding, like, have you been following a path that is not yours? Are you doing what you're doing just because everybody else does it, because it's been conditioned into you, because it's programmed into you? Because Nine of Wands, this is a card of completion, but it is feeling kind of like, again, beaten up, like hard work, being put into this thing, not getting the results that we want. Because if you look at this guy, he doesn't look too happy either. So, and these two cards do oftentimes to me symbolize a lot about work. Because Nine of Wands, this guy, he's looking over his shoulder. He's bandaged up, he's clearly wounded, he's clearly been through a lot, and he's almost to the finish line though. And with this card also, sometimes when we feel like giving up, when we feel like, oh, what's the use, what am I doing anyways, usually that give up moment is right before a breakthrough, right before we turn the corner towards success, towards something new. So the more we can bring that healing to our inner child and do things differently, be reborn, be a new person. You don't have to be the same person you've always been just because, this is you, this is your meat suit, like you can always be reborn at the personality level. You can always show up differently. You can always dress differently. And that's why a big collective theme for this new moon right now is really like cleaning house, clean out the closet. There's this analogy I always use in my in-person readings in the shop, and it always really resonates, and it resonates with me as well. And that analogy is, we must clean out the closet if you want to bring in new clothes. If you've got the same old clothes sitting in your closet for 5, 10, 15, heck, even maybe 20 years, and you haven't cleared them out, you haven't made space, and you've changed a lot, you have to clean out the closet to make room for new clothes. You have to clean out those old clothes so you have new hangers to hang your new clothes on. You see what I'm saying? So clean out the closet, make peace with the past and clear out whatever is not serving you, especially any beliefs surrounding career, surrounding purpose. Because also, a lot of us, when we go through a spiritual awakening, we're like, all right, bet, what's my purpose? How can I find my purpose? What am I here to do? And our purpose isn't like an end all be all thing. It's kind of what unique role or what unique contribution can we make in the moment based on our current skills, talents, abilities, etc. So my purpose tonight at 5:00 is going to be feeding my kitties. That's my contribution. Right now, my purpose is reading and providing guidance and direction surrounding this new moon. So for you, you may feel called towards a certain path. You may feel called to start learning tarot, to start writing, to start, doing something in regards to like a career or an area of work. But just know that although that is part of your purpose, it is not your end all be all purpose, as I said, because, part of my purpose that I see, all in all, some sort of like, big picture stuff, part of my purpose is to teach humanity and to help people transcend the matrix and reconnect with their soul, and expand their consciousness. That's not the only thing I do. Like I said, I got to feed my kitties at 5:00, I got to take care of my needs. I got to clean my house, so when on this quest for purpose, and when healing a lot of these energies, especially if, we were kind of pushed to go to college or pushed to go into a area or a line of work that someone else wanted us to do, really just recognizing the lessons that came with that job or that career path, and recognizing the hard work that you have put in and the talents and abilities that you have cultivated because of this area of work that you've been on. Because everything serves a purpose, all this purpose talk, yada, yada, everything in our lives serves some sort of purpose. Anything we don't like is there to teach us about what we don't like, So as you connect with this inner child and make time for having fun, I think that's how you'll really start to kind of get clear on this purpose stuff. Because like I said, on your quest to purpose, don't be like, okay, bet, like I'm supposed to be a tarot reader, or, oh, I'm supposed to be a Reiki healer, oh, I'm supposed to be an accountant, or I'm supposed to go work in healthcare. You know, as you find your career path and your niche that you want to focus on, don't limit yourself, because you may find that the thing you think you're meant for might just be the avenue that gets you to what you're really looking for. Damn, that's some cool stuff. I hope that made sense. It was a cool analogy in my head, but you see what I'm saying? Like sometimes, you know, for me, for example, I thought, you know, I'm supposed to wake people up. You know, that's my purpose, that's my career path. You know, but that is not my end all be all purpose. You know, my purpose is shifting and evolving through the times. Like right in this moment, I see a big part of my purpose being readings and helping people with personalized guidance and direction and general readings like this. But I don't see that as my, you know, is what I'm going to do forever. So all in all, what I'm saying is like, don't limit yourself and keep expanding. And as you expand and kind of shift gears, start new careers or start new projects, just kind of like come together with people and have fun and celebrate, because the Four of Wands is all about that, you know, celebration, joy, marriages, parties, you know, that sort of energy, because four is a very foundational number. And so Wands cards represent spirituality, passion, fire energy. So you could say basically that our foundations in regards to this suit are very strongly built on ecstasy and joy and fulfillment and having fun, because those experiences are really the staple of our lives. You know, oftentimes when we get together with friends, we tell stories of fun times that we've had in the past, while having fun in the present, if that makes sense. So a big part of our human experience really is fun. And even though, because of the, you know, the system we live in, kind of the way we've been conditioned and the way we've been living life, work has been the primary focus. You know, you meet someone, oh, what do you do for work? Oh, what's your job? You know, that's usually the first thing that people ask, not what do you like to do for fun? What are your talents? It's usually, you know, oh, you know, what is your job? And we're learning as we all evolve collectively and, you know, individually, as we all evolve spiritually, we're really realizing there's a lot more to life than work. Although we do need work to feel fulfilled, and like we do need some sense of purpose, you know, something where we feel our gifts are being utilized, where we feel that, you know, we're making a contribution and that we are, you know, doing the right thing, etc. You know, we do need purposeful work. However, we need fun most of all. And I've seen that another big theme throughout just the past few days is like, you know, how can we bring more fun into our lives? How can we have more fun on a day-to-day basis? And, you know, what is fun to us? You know, and one good question that we can kind of ask ourselves is, you know, are we doing things that's fun, I'm using a lot of these quotations, that's fun to others? You know, like, for example, when I first started going through my awakening, I had just turned 21, my friends had just turned 21, and I was going out and drinking at bars like all the time, spending all my money on, you know, $10 drinks, you know, whatever, food, fast food, takeout, and none of that stuff was really fun for me. None of it was really fulfilling, and none of it really brought me a sense of joy, but I did it because that's what everyone else did, and that's what all my friends were doing, and like it kind of seemed fun, and it was kind of fun, but all in all, it was not bringing me that fulfillment like something like this would, like a gathering, a party, you know, a wedding, something ecstatic and joyful and fun like that. So what I'm getting at here is like, what do you do for fun, and is that actually serving you as a person? Or is it serving your best friend or your mom or your dad or your siblings, or just kind of like what everybody else does, you know? And the more you take time for like real authentic fun in doing things differently, you know, that's what the center of this whole reading is kind of about, is like just doing things differently and recognizing what brings us that deep sense of fulfillment within. Because a lot of these cards are in reverse, or I guess only 3, but some of them are in reverse. And that means that the energy is focused within, especially this doing things differently energy, this judgment energy. Rebirth, you know, we're having this kind of rebirth of our inner realm, you know, and Cancer as a sign, it does bring up a lot about emotions. and emotional energy, kind of like what emotions we've been carrying with us. And so pretty much as these emotions kind of get tugged on within, because of this new moon, we're really being called to like do something about it. You know, if we've been upset in a job, in a marriage, in any kind of situation, well, what can you do to like bring more of this energy, this and this? Like, what can you bring to really truly bring into your life to really truly have fun? You know, like if there's anything that really just like is being spotlighted right now that really isn't serving you, that's kind of like, you know, not it, chief, walk away from it, because that's what this card is all about. It's all about walking away, because you can see, you know, these people in the background. This guy kind of looks like he's crying. This guy, he's, you know, leaving his sword behind. This guy's holding all the swords. It's time to walk away from a situation. And now 5 cards symbolize change, and with change can come conflict when we resist that change. So another theme that I've really seen for all of us is this kind of theme of like letting people go and like walking away from relationships, situations that really is not serving us. And I know I've touched on this a lot so far in this reading, but it really is time to kind of walk away from people. If you have to like put on a mask, right, and have to like try with your friends or with your family, or like just be not your total authentic self, Spirit is really creating the circumstances for us to walk away from these scenarios. And it's because we've got our sights on something else. You know, we are getting really conscious, you know, we're getting very spiritual, where life is becoming very much more magical. And this card always makes me think of like kind of going through a spiritual awakening, because you can see this guy, he's like charging forward towards these pyramids, or you know, just there's pyramids there. And pyramids are often a symbol of, you know, spirituality, higher consciousness, awakening, all of that. And so since it's in reverse, as we kind of walk away from these situations that are not serving us, you know, whether it's people, whether it's a job, whether it's, you know, friendships, romantic relationships, family dynamics, as we walk away from those things and embrace that change within, heal the inner child, change, you know, how we see work, bring more fun into our lives, that is how we release burdens, because that's what Ten of Wands is all about. And that is kind of like the last card we have in this spread. And all in all, you know, these cards right here, where I'm still touching on these because, you know, as we walk away from these things, we have this kind of newfound motivation and momentum that we can use towards being the magician of our lives and being the conscious creator that we know we are. Because we've all dabbled with manifestation. We've all seen our thoughts manifest into reality. We've all, you know, as we go on that awakening path, we've all experienced that. And so, since Magician is in reverse, that is kind of drawing our attention to like, how have you been holding yourself back within? Like, how have you been blocking your own manifestations because of past trauma, past emotional wounds? And, you know, I had been starting to bring up that stuff with our emotional wounds. You know, basically, what's going on, anything dense or disruptive that is holding us back from evolving further or leveling up in our lives is really being highlighted right now, so that we can clear it out and so that we can really free ourselves from the weight of a lot of this kind of past emotional turmoil. Now, Cancer as a sign, it's a water sign, and it very much has to do with our home and family life, our mother, and our emotions. And so you may find that a lot of emotions are being brought up to the surface right now, and there is a lot of kind of healing going on of the past, whether it's, you know, things you've been through or things that we've collectively been through, you know. And this new moon is conjunct the dark moon Lilith, which is really bringing up a rebellious energy and a lot of rage and upset at the injustices and the patriarchal systems that are really not serving all beings on earth. You know, we can see right now with this like abortion stuff, the Roe versus Wade, like we're all really seeing how we've been giving our power away to these things, these structures, or even just these emotions within us that are not serving us. And we're finally getting kind of that momentum and that strength to walk away from those things and to switch gears, because we've been walking this path of like, oh, my life sucks, I'm traumatized, I'm in pain, all that. But we're kind of like realizing our spirit is kind of like coming in and being like, hello, like, wake up, like, stop feeding energy into those thoughts. You are the conscious creator of your reality. So what do you want to create? Do you want to continue to create this like despair and this like just kind of suffering? Or do you want to create a magical ass life? Pardon my French, but like, like, because all of it is at our fingertips and it's all in reach. We just have to really like do the work to align ourselves with that path. And it takes some really strong kind of walking away and discipline to walk away from those things that really aren't doing it anymore. Because oftentimes, especially when it's in regards to people, we really can feel a lot of, pain and heartache, especially if we know we have to kind of like part ways with people. And it's all because of our attachment, and it's not to say like, oh, it's bad to be attached to people, be a Buddha, no attachments. It's part of our humanity to be attached to people and to create relationships with people. However, when those people are really holding us back from something, or if they're really not serving us, like for example, going out and like doing these things that you really don't want to do, those things that don't bring you joy, just distance yourself. It doesn't mean you have to like have this whole falling out and like tell everyone they're horrible people and stuff. No, just like stop giving your energy to these energies, those things that like you feel like you're putting in so much work, but you're not reaping the rewards you seek. Because even though I had mentioned this was about work, it could also be about relationships and people. You've been putting a lot of work into a relationship or into a friendship or, into a family member, and you're just like not getting, the results that you deserve, and you're not getting what you want out of it. And you're just kind of feeling beaten up by it. So the more you can just like take your energy back and just channel it into the things that you really want to do. Like if you do really want to become a tarot reader, well, buy yourself a deck, or if you want to just learn more about the universe and the world and like how you can be a better person, buy some self-help books, or just seek knowledge, because overall knowledge is power, and the more we know, the more we can do. Because if you don't know something isn't serving you, or you don't know that something is bad for you, you can't change it. But I feel like I can just feel a lot of people watching this right now. They're like, oh, that's the thing. Oh, that isn't like, the more we know and understand, like, oh, that's the thing that's holding me back. Oh, I just have to switch something up real quick. That knowledge can really empower us to move forward and to really create some great things in our lives. So, as we are releasing all of these burdens and anything that like is a weight that we're carrying with us, we're going to feel a lot more free, because this card really just means like, what are you carrying that you need to put down? Like you're carrying all these sticks into town, you're about to drop them, like chill out. What can we like, how can we lighten the load? How can we, take some of these burdens, these responsibilities, this struggle away from us? Because look at this guy, he's not having an easy time. He's struggling. He's about to drop all these sticks. So, and in regards to our lives, oftentimes we go through life and we kind of just like carry this wagon behind us, right? And this wagon, we just put stuff in it, all of our memories, all of the emotions, all of the times anyone said something wrong to us, anytime anybody, looked at us the wrong way. We stack all of that up in our wagon, and we carry that wagon with us in every room we go into, every situation, everything we do. That wagon is there. And what happens when this wagon is like reaching the ceiling full of stuff? Do we want to keep dragging that same old wagon around with us, or do we want to just make space and just kind of like lighten our load and make room for new experiences and new emotions and new energies? Because if we never kind of walk away from the past and we just are always letting these energies from the past run our lives, we're not creating anything new. We're just kind of reliving the past over and over and over again. And it's like, that can be good for a while, especially if you have to do some healing, if you've like been through some stuff, but there comes a time when you have to kind of like radically shift things. You got to empty out that wagon, or else it's going to tip over, or it's going to crash into the wall, or something's going to happen and we ain't going to like that. You see what I mean? And that kind of wagon analogy can really go hand in hand with shadow work. If we're carrying all these shadow aspects within us and we're kind of just like letting them do our thing and letting them run our lives, then that's our life. We're not the conscious creator of our life. We're not consciously directing our energy. We're just kind of letting these programs in our subconscious or within us just kind of run their course and direct our lives. And now it's time when we're kind of just like, wait a minute, I can empty out this wagon. Wait a minute, I don't have to deal with these burdens anymore. Screw that, moving on. You know what I mean? So upheavals always lead to upgrades. So if you're going through anything right now that's really trying your patience, that's really like stressing you out, or just any situations that manifest surrounding this new moon that are pulling on your heartstrings, pulling on your emotions, shaking up your home and family life, maybe, relationships, just dynamics, the environment, all of these things are really all happening so that we can upgrade and so that we can step into this new level of our life. Because like I said, anything dense or disruptive that's holding us back is being spotlighted right now. And sometimes those spotlights are very bright and we don't want to look at them, but we're kind of forced to. So be compassionate with yourself, because emotions, they're difficult to deal with, but it's very important to remember that we are the observer of our thoughts and emotions. So we are not our thoughts and we are not our emotions. We are that which observes these qualities, these essences of energy. And when that kind of clicks, when you kind of realize like, oh yeah, like I don't have to attach to that. Like if you're feeling rage, you're feeling really angry and like, oh, you just want to hit something, you can always just kind of take a step back and observe and be like, okay, like what is this telling me? What is this coming from? And pay attention to the images and the memories and the emotional, like the essences of energy that come up when you do that reflection and when you do that observation. So like I said, for an example, like say you're feeling a lot of rage. If you kind of just pause and observe it and really tune within, you can kind of get a feel for that energy signature and where it's coming from. Like, is it coming from a dynamic in your childhood that you still are kind of holding on to? Or is it being triggered by something someone's doing that reminds you of a trauma or a trigger in your past? Or does it come from your mom, your dad? Is it not even yours? Does it come from a past life? Tuning into those energies can really help you detach from them rather than acting out on them. Is especially if you're experiencing rage, you don't want to go and break something. You don't want to go and like lash out on someone, yell at someone. So by tuning in and by kind of like just taking that step back and just like recognizing what the root of it is and what you feel within and what you see, that can really tell you what that root is and can help you to stay detached and to just release it. And the same goes for like sadness. If you're just feeling an overwhelming sadness or a feeling of defeat or a feeling of loss or fear, fear is a good one too. When we kind of just stop and observe fear, half the time it is just false evidence appearing real. Fear, F-E-A-R, see? It's just false evidence appearing real. It's just something someone told us that might not be true for us. Like, for example, like everything is subjective, right? And, silly example, but someone could say that this soapstone chicken is bad, right? Oh, he's bad. He's a bad chicken, right? But someone else can come around and be like, hey, this is just a chicken. Nothing to be afraid of. It's not bad. Whereas this chicken could be scaring the crap out of someone somewhere else. You see what I'm saying? So the more we do just be that observer of any thoughts, any emotions that arise within us, we can see that like, wait, that is not me. That could have been projected onto me by someone else, or, like I said, could come from a past life, could come from your ancestry. Because also, one last thing that I'll add before we kind of wrap things up is that there's a lot of ancestral clearing of karma going on right now as well, primarily from our mother's side of the family. So that could be healing of mother wounds from your own childhood, like I said, healing of that inner child, healing of mother wounds, like maybe your mother wasn't really present, maybe there was a lot of like, dissonance or discord in the family life, all that stuff. but also we're healing wounds from our mother's ancestry line, meaning our mother's mother and her mother and her mother before then. So the ancestry that goes back in our family. Because when emotions are not healed and they are just repressed and they are kind of bottled up and held onto, they get passed down through generations. And that's why a lot of the times they say when you spiritually awaken, stuttering, you're healing generational trauma. You know, you're healing these and breaking these generational curses that has been in your family for lifetimes. And so that's why a lot of the times our consciousness and our spirituality can kind of feel like a bit of a burden. But when we walk away from those things that make it feel burdensome, you know, empty out the wagon, empty out the closet, all the analogies, then we have more resources to create the things that we want and to create the joy in our lives. You know, when we're not running these programs and acting on this conditioning that's been given to us by someone else, not even ourselves, our own authority, then we can create whatever we want. We don't have to create what everybody else wants anymore. And all of these ancestral wounds within the mother side, I think that a lot of it has to do with kind of being very submissive and not being able to stand in our power, especially because a lot of our female ancestors, they didn't have many rights. They couldn't vote. A lot of them, you know, especially for me, you know, my ancestry, I know a lot of it comes from, you know, the Salem witch trials in those days. You know, we was hung at the stake for doing stuff like this. So, you know, we carry a lot of that within ourselves. And not to say that, like, use this as, like, you know, to place responsibility for your emotions, like your sadness, whatever, on someone else. Like, don't abdicate responsibility. Don't place blame on your ancestors. However, take into account that a lot of what you're experiencing might not be yours. All these emotions, all of these scenarios that have been playing out in your life, it might be coming from ancestors. And these patterns have just been repeating ancestor after ancestor after ancestor. Because I've seen in my own mother's side how these patterns will repeat. And because a lot of the stuff that my grandmother does, she would say that her mother did, that she didn't like, but she does the same thing. And my mother will say things that my grandmother does that she doesn't like, but my mother does them herself. So those patterns have repeated. And I see how by me choosing to take a different path and to walk away from a lot of those things, that is what brings that healing to a lot of those generational curses, as I had mentioned. And so just remembering the bigger picture in these situations, because like I said, we don't want to blame our past. We don't want to blame past lives, past versions of ourselves. You know, I'm not going to sit here and say, oh gosh darn, past life Sarah, why'd you have to do that? You know, I'm not saying to blame. However, just recognizing that there's more, there's missing pieces to the puzzle, and that sometimes diving into your past lives through meditations, through doing past life readings, and also just through like your dreams, because a lot of the time past life memories will kind of show up in our dreams. But by tuning into those things, it can really, really help you to recognize the greater situation that's going on and kind of, you know, what you're experiencing, and start by being the observer. And if you're ever interested, I do past life Akashic Records readings, and I have seen how in my own life and in lives of my clients, how these past life situations do actually show up in the present life. So if you're ever interested in uncovering past lives or understanding why a certain energy keeps popping up in your life, definitely feel free to reach out to me, because a lot of the times there is a lot of wisdom in our past lives that likes to come through with these Akashic Records readings. And so we are going to pull an oracle card to wrap things up. That's too many. Well, let's see this one. You're overlooking some important details, so pay closer attention to what's going on. Yeah. In regards to what I was just saying with, you know, the past life stuff, there might be past lives that are coming up for you, or, you know, there might be patterns from your mother, from your grandmother, great-grandmother, aunts, you know, just everything in your mother's side, and in regards to that kind of side of your ancestry. There's a lot more than meets the eye with the things that you're experiencing. So kind of tune within and just recognize that, you know, there may be some things that you're not seeing. And the more you do pay attention and be that observer of your emotions, your thoughts, that's how, all right, we'll take these. That's how you'll figure some stuff out. Anyways, getting distracted. So create a sacred space for yourself in your home or place of work. And oh my God, Cancer season, all about home life. So create a sacred space for yourself, you know, and since home environments, home life is being highlighted right now, you may be going through, you know, in the process of moving. I have so many friends right now, so many who are moving. My roommate just moved out 2 days ago. So there's a lot of home situations and those kinds of scenarios that are shifting right now. So as you're going through those shifts in environment, in home, wherever you call home, create a sacred space for yourself. And that can be just a space like this. Like, this is my sacred space. This is my altar. This is where I do readings for myself, where I do a lot of readings for others. And it is my sacred space. And now that I have a lot more space, now that my roommate has moved out, I have my own office now. I'm going to be creating a sacred space in there as well to be filming more content and more videos. And it feels really good. And it's really helped me to kind of like do things differently and to switch things up and to feel more whole within and to feel reborn, because as we shift within, our external environment needs to shift as well to kind of mirror those shifts and those changes. So I've found that by consciously shifting my environment and even like tidying up spaces like this, or by organizing, cleaning out the closet, you know, bringing back that analogy, that helped me to feel a lot more balanced and a lot more whole and just kind of comfortable, especially because like our home is our place of comfort. So when we move or when we kind of experience shifts in our home life, that can feel very burdensome and that can be very overwhelming. So by creating our own space and just kind of, even if it's like a little corner, even if it's like your bathroom, you know, just a little space that is yours and that is sacred to you, that can really help you feel a lot better. And so we have the polar bear. Stand up for yourself and speak truth respectfully and compassionately without attachment to the outcome. I think we know what this is about. So in regards to these situations where we have to walk away from something, or we have to walk away from someone, something, and we have to shift the way we see things and the way we do things, we have to stand up for ourselves with no attachment to the outcome. You know, you have to assert yourself. If someone is treating you unfairly, if someone's not treating you right, you have to stand up for yourself and share with them like, hey, I don't like the way you've been talking to me, or I don't like the way this has been going, or I've been working too much if it's a boss, you know, because it's up to us to recognize like, yeah, I am feeling overwhelmed. I have been overworked. I'm not liking, you know, the rewards of what I've been putting energy into. I'm not reaping these rewards that I've been hoping, and I'm not enjoying, you know, the results of my actions. So it's time to walk away. And as you do walk away, just make sure you don't let people kind of like bring you down, and just don't attach yourself to the outcome, because if you're too attached to like people pleasing, like, oh, I want to walk away from them, but like I don't want to upset them, or like, oh, they've been nice to me in the past, so like I can't be mean. No, you have to release that attachment. I'm not saying to go and be a dick, but like, you know, you just have to release that attachment to like wanting things to go a certain way. Because if you want to free yourself from all these burdens, you know, if you want to put down the sticks, if you want to be the conscious creator of your life, and if you want to ride horses naked through sunflower field, I'm kidding, but if you want to experience this really like joy and fulfillment, where is it? I'm making a mess here. Oh my goodness. If you want to experience that joy and fulfillment and celebration, then it's time to walk away, and it's time to make those difficult decisions. And so I hope this all resonated. Went a little longer than I expected, but I feel like there was a lot of really valuable guidance and direction here. And if you would like to book your own personalized reading, one-on-one, I do live and I do emailed or remote recorded tarot readings, and I also do Akashic Records readings, which, like I said, taps into your past lives and can help to clear any karmic patterns. So any karma, any energies in your life that are kind of like clogging you up, blocking you, helping you feel stagnant or just kind of disempowered, we can clear those in an Akashic reading. And can also get you in touch with where your soul comes from, you know, what planets you've lived on, and how you express energy. So more information about that is on my website, flowstateawakening.com. And thank you so much for tuning into this reading today. And yeah, I hope you have a beautiful, beautiful new moon in Cancer, and much love, everyone.